Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to dig in.
Awesome. So today we're taking a look at something a bit different. We're diving into Michelle Obama's Becoming.
Oh, great pick. I think a lot of people might hear Michelle Obama and think political memoir, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's so much more than that.
It really is. I mean, it definitely touches on her time in the White House, but it's really more of a personal journey.
Hmm.
About finding your voice and figuring out who you are, even when, or maybe especially when the whole world's watching.
It's almost like, how do you stay grounded when your life is anything BT normal?
Exactly. And she really doesn't hold back. I mean, talk about a transformation from growing up on the south side of Chicago to, well, becoming the first lady. It's a pretty incredible story.
And it makes you wonder, how much did those experiences shape her, right? Like going from a childhood in a one-bedroom apartment to living in the White House, that's a huge shift.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really struck me was how much she emphasizes education. It's like a thread that runs through her entire life, from her time in public schools to Princeton and then Harvard Law.
It's interesting, though, because it wasn't just about checking off boxes or getting into prestigious
No,
schools.
not at all.
It was about using education as a way to, empower herself.
And to lift up her community, too.
Exactly. And that comes through so clearly in the book. Like, there's this one part where she talks about being at Princeton and she sees a student, just casually tossing around thousands of dollars in cash.
Oh, yeah, I remember
It
that.
was for some kind of prank, and
Right.
it really hit her how different their backgrounds were and how people made assumptions about her based on where she came from.
That feeling of being an outsider,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, even though she was at this incredibly prestigious university, she still had to deal with those subtle biases,
And prove herself over and over again.
which she did. But I'm curious, what did you think about her strategies for dealing with those challenges? Like, how did she stay grounded and focused?
Well, for her, it seemed like finding her own community was really important. It wasn't about trying to fit in with the elite crowd, but about connecting with people who shared her values
Yeah.
and understood her experiences.
It makes sense, right? You need that support system, especially when you're navigating spaces where you might feel like you don't belong.
Absolutely. And speaking of support systems, we can't talk about becoming without talking about her relationship with Barack.
Oh, for sure. Their partnership is such a central part of the story.
And the book gives us this really fascinating glimpse into their early years together, before they were the power couple that everyone knows.
Right, like behind the scenes, what was their relationship really like?
And she doesn't shy away from the challenges they faced either.
No, not at all. Remember that part where she talks about how he was always late?
Oh, yeah. It seemed like a small thing at first,
But it actually revealed a lot about their different personalities.
like their different approaches to life, to responsibility.
Yeah. And yet, even with those differences, they had this shared ambition, this desire to make a difference in the world. It makes you think about the balance in your own relationships.
Totally. Like, how do you support each other's dreams while also staying true to yourself?
Such a tricky balance. But okay, we've got to talk about her time as First Lady.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a whole other layer to her story.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about, the fancy dinners and the state visits,
No, not at all. She really used her platform to champion causes that she cared about.
like healthy eating,
And girls' education around the world.
things that maybe weren't considered traditional First Lady issues.
And that must come with its own set of pressures, too. I mean, to balance her own passions with the expectations of that role.
Yeah. And she's pretty honest about the challenges she faced.
Oh, yeah. Like dealing with racial and gender bias, even in the White House.
It really makes you think about the resilience she had to have,
Turning those challenges into opportunities for growth.
which I think is a really powerful message for everyone. We all face setbacks, right?
Yeah.
But it's about how we choose to respond to them.
And keep moving forward.
Exactly.
In the end, the title Becoming really says it all. Like, it's an ongoing process. None of us ever truly arrive, right? We're all just constantly evolving.
So well said. And this deep dive barely even scratched the surface, honestly. There's so much more to unpack in this book.
Absolutely.
So to everyone listening, if you're looking for a story about finding your voice, overcoming challenges, and making a difference in the world, I highly recommend checking out Becoming. It's a really inspiring read.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time,
See you then.
bye.
Bye.